Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as I'm sure you know by now, Tuesday means it's Type 2 or Standard Tuesday, but we're in this really weird time. We're waiting for Hour of Devastation to release on Friday, so I don't really want to talk about our current standard, so we're going to use this 1 week window to hop in the time machine, have a time travel Tuesday, back to 2004, and look at a super sweet historical standard deck. And I'm really excited for this one because we've seen the return of cycling in standard, we've seen new perspectives kind of be a thing in standard, and this is the original cycling combo deck, Astral Slide from Julian Newichin, whose name I probably butchered, unfortunately, so sorry about that, but congrats on a super sweet deck that actually came in first at Worlds 2004. So I don't think we can actually play this one, no matter how popular it is, but it is cool to look back on where we've been. So this is, 13 years ago? Around this time, people were cycling just like they are today, but doing it in a very different way. So let's talk Astral Slide from Onslaught Mirrodin Standard, and of course we have the namesake enchantment, Astral Slide, and this is the payoff. And back then, now we have Drake Havens and things like that, back then, cycling payoffs are free, so whenever anyone cycles, you get to flicker a creature. You exile it, return it to the battlefield at the end of turn, and this is basically the entire plan of the deck. It's how it wins, it's how it generates value, and it does some really crazy things. So as far as creatures, the big one here is Eternal Witness. We can do awesome things with Eternal Witness because we can cycle, we can flicker our Eternal Witness, which lets us get back whatever we cycled or anything else that's in our graveyard. So we're generating this crazy, grindy card advantage by just flickering our Eternal Witness over and over and over again. Viridian Shaman looks super weird in the main deck, but you gotta think this was 2004, Mirrodin-era of Standard, where Affinity was the top dog, the best deck in the format, so running 4 main deck artifact disruption spells. And Viridian Shaman isn't just an artifact disruption spell, because it's repeatable with Astral Slide. We cycle something, we flicker it, and just blow up all of our opponent's artifacts and just really crush on Affinity. And then Eternal Dragon lets us cycle in the early game, get a Plains out of our deck, activates our Astral Stride, but it's also kind of our finisher. In the late game, we can get it back from our graveyard, we can cast it, it's resilient because we can always flicker it if our opponent goes to kill it, and we're going to get in 4-5 in the air and beat our opponent down. As far as the cyclers, we have a few different options. Renewed Faith is a big one because it gains us a bunch of life. Affinity, the big deck in the format, pretty aggressive, so this helps make sure that we're not dying. We can do some neat tricks where we cycle it, gain a couple life, flicker our Eternal Witness, get it back, gain 6 life if we want to, which is just a huge life swing. Akroma's Vengeance can blow up the entire board, also just cycle it for value. Decree of Justice, we can cycle it just to get our value with Astral Slide, but in the late game, after we do all this flickering, we got a ton of lands, we can cycle it and just make a ton of soldier tokens, beat our opponent down, or even just get it back and cast it and make angels if we want to, so it's kind of an additional finisher in our deck. Rampant Growth just helps us get into our stuff a bit faster, into our Astral Slides, into our big finishers like our dragons and our Decree of Justice to make more soldiers. Wing Shard and Wrath of God give us some more removal. Wing Shard, pretty sweet because it has Storm, so we can potentially get rid of a bunch of attacking creatures at once. Wrath of God just sweeps away the board. Of course, we can keep getting them back with our Eternal Witness. And then maybe my favorite card in the whole deck, only a one of, but Plow Under, puts 2 lands on top of their owner's library. So once we get to the late game, we can plow under our opponent, put a couple lands on top of their deck, cycle, flicker our Eternal Witness. When it comes back into play, we get back our Plow Under, we do it again. Eventually, we're just going to have all of our opponent's lands on top of their deck, which means they can't cast any spells because they don't have lands, and they're going to be drawing lands for a lot of turns in a row. So it's a very weird lock, but a very effective lock if the game goes super long. As far as the mana base, we get the original cycling lands, Tranquil Thicket, Secluded Steep, mana sources when we need them to be, cyclers when we need them to be, a great fit for the deck, and then Windswept Heath combined with some basic lands to round things out. As far as the sideboard, more Plow Wonders. If we're in a more controlling matchup, they're really, really strong. 2 lands on top of the deck, skipping 2 draws because you get rid of those lands is a massive swing, even without the lock with Eternal Witness and Astral Slide, especially against more mid-range and controlling decks. Against Affinity, we get the Oxidizes, just a very, very efficient artifact disruption spell. It doesn't get much cheaper than 1 mana at instant speed to destroy an artifact with no regeneration. Scrabbling Cause for graveyards, so if you're playing the Astral Slide Mirror and worried about those Eternal Witness loops, Scrabbling Cause can take care of that problem. And then Circle of Protection Red, not really exactly sure what matchup that was for. Maybe it's for the burn spells from Affinity, but there's probably a red deck back then that I'm not really aware of at the moment. And then Rude Awakening gives us yet another finisher. We can just entwine it, turn all of our lands into 2/2 creatures, beat our opponent down. If that's not enough to finish the game, we get it back with Eternal Witness by flickering it with Astral Slide, do it again. And that is Astral Slide from 2004 Worlds, and that's our instant deck tech for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.